Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Did you know you can support the channel by joining? Something to think about. Now onto the stories. Case file number 940, written by Khammer. The Instantaneous Road Trip. Several years ago, I attended a concert in Cincinnati, Ohio with two friends. We are from southern Indiana, so we drove from where we lived, through Kentucky, into Ohio on our route. After the concert, we loaded up to make the trip home. I rode in the back seat while Liz drove and Victoria sat in the front passenger side. The concert ended around midnight, and the drive home took about 3.5 hours. Sometime before we even made it out of Ohio, I fell asleep in the back seat. Next thing I remember is waking up in Liz's back seat and looking around to kind of get my bearings. I immediately noticed that we were on a gravel road. There weren't any gravel roads anywhere on our route, so I asked, "Hey guys, where are we?" To which they both replied, "I don't know, I just woke up." Needless to say, upon hearing this, we both asked Liz again. She said she had no idea where we were. She had no memory of driving or falling asleep. She just knows that all of a sudden, she was awake and we were here. Mind you, she is still driving. We had no idea what state we were even in at this point. And of course, it's then we noticed the gas gauge is very, very low. After driving aimlessly for several minutes, we saw a small green sign that welcomed us to the town of Johnson. At first, it didn't click. Then I remembered there was a tiny town by that name about 15 to 20 miles from the town I lived in. Then I noticed a radio tower in the distance to our right. I said that if we were in the town Johnson, the one that was near my hometown, that means the major highway we needed was where that radio tower is. We needed to head in that direction. Well, thank God I was right, because about 20 minutes later we rolled into a gas station just in time. Somehow we had made the entire 3.5-hour drive across 3 states, then drove 20 miles past our exit off the interstate, and exited God knows where to have ended up on the middle of nowhere on a gravel road. The area we were in when we all came to was not a direct route off the interstate. Several turns had to be made to get there. Liz swears to this day she has no memory of what happened, and I believe her simply because of the look of absolute disbelief on her face that night is permanently burned into my memory. We just don't know. Case notes for the file 940. The Instantaneous Trip. I think it's all in that detail about the gas gauge being low. I think you mentioned this because it wasn't low before leaving, obviously being full for a long road trip. But to me this indicates that there was actually driving going on, but the memory was blocked out. I think it rules out alien abduction or space-time portals, wormholes, because then the car wouldn't have driven enough to have a low gas tank. Something physically caused everyone in the car, you were asleep, but Liz and Victoria, I believe was the name, they both lost memory as well. It is possible, by the way, to drive on autopilot, based on pure instinct. People do this all the time where they reach their destination and they don't remember how they got there. But the fact it happened to everyone in the car, off trail in some gravel road that wasn't connected on the route anyways. Something influenced that. Maybe a spirit? A mass possession? I can't say for sure. I can only rule out, sadly, alien abductions. Unless the aliens also drain fuel from the car, which I guess they could. They'd have to be pretty bright creatures to reach here at all. Case file number 941, written by Anonymous. An onslaught of key glitches. My husband and I lived in Salt Lake City, Utah, when this happened. We were traveling to Price, Utah, to his aunt's house to pick up his truck. While we are driving, we realized we can't find the truck keys. I was in my early 20s and being a dumb butt, so I had grabbed a 24-ounce can of beer while we were getting gas. I grabbed a cup for fountain drinks and poured my beer into it. We had said a prayer to help us find the truck key, and as I'm talking to him and drinking, I look down and in my cup of beer is the truck key. I have no idea how that could happen. I remember reaching in and the feeling of beer around my hand as I reached in to grab it. We were both dumbfounded. Still is everything I think about. Another glitch, probably 2 or 3 years later. I'm staying with my mom and she let my friend and I use her car because it was better on gas than my pickup. Anyway, When we get back, I put the keys in my purse and go to lock the doors, but upon realizing one of the windows was down, I go to turn the car back on so I can roll it up, but I can't find my keys anywhere. My friend is searching, I'm searching, and I dump my purse out multiple times with no keys. I go get my mom, who is pissed now because she doesn't want her car sitting out there with windows down. We search the car, search each other, no keys. Finally, after much frustration, we just give up. The next morning, my mom is still upset about the keys, and I don't know why, but it just felt like a reset. Like I can't explain it, but I either reached into my purse or dumped it out. And there they were, the keys, right where I remembered putting them and searching yesterday, multiple times. My mom looked relieved but skeptical, and I was just again dumbfounded. I only now realize I had two bizarre stories pertaining to keys. Interesting, isn't it? Case notes for file 941, an onslaught of keyed glitches. You know, over time as I read enough stories, and I don't narrate every single story I read, there are just so many, I notice patterns emerging over weeks. Some weeks it's a lot of cat stories, some weeks it's a lot of dog stories or time anomalies. This week there were more key-based glitches or doors involving locks. I don't know if it means anything, it's just an interesting observation. Humans are very good at noticing patterns, so it may just be my mind seeing faces in the clouds. But if it does mean something, maybe it's related to the people posting it. Because there are so many glitches happening, and of course, not all of them are posted. In fact, I would guess the majority are ignored by people they happen to. Because they're too small and they're just dismissed as aberrations of the mind. People don't know about Reddit and they don't know about my channel or other channels like it where they can send stories, so they just don't know where to share it. Maybe they tell a friend, but that's it. So it's pretty cool to just have this platform where people can share their events, their weird anomalies. And yeah, we can sit around and think about what the hell's going on. DOP is probably the most common glitch, I would say. And especially when items return out of place in different locations. It's just weird. Still, the most striking one for me was the ruby-encrusted diamond antique wedding ring coming back 2 years later from being lost in the ocean. That's just incredible. Keys appearing in beer drinks is very odd too, even though it wasn't that long between disappearing and reappearing. Case file number 942, written by poppedlight, glitch on the cob. I live alone, so the house was quiet and empty. I decided to make myself something to eat, so I walked into the kitchen to check what I had in the fridge. Not much, had some salami though. I rarely keep that much around, it's a bad habit I know. But my New Year's resolution was to eat cleaner. I tried to be realistic about it too, not lose 100 pounds in a couple months, no. Instead, to stop Uber eating every single night out. As I opened the door, there was a large bag of corn sitting on the top of the shelves. I was very confused. Actually, confused isn't even strong enough of a word. I had never bought corn before in my entire life. Literally never. And I mean not even canned corn. I've eaten it before in a few restaurants and growing up at home with my mom, but never bought and cooked it myself. I thought maybe I had somehow accidentally picked it up at a grocery store, but I just knew I hadn't. This is corn on the cob, raw, leaves and everything still protruding on it. Obviously, no one broke into my apartment on the 8th floor of a 20-floor building to store their illicit stash of corn here, right? So how do I find corn in my fridge? Did I sleepwalk to the store and buy corn and bring it back here last night? There's no charge on my card and I don't use cash. I got nothing. But something tells me I should not eat this corn. Maybe I'd transform into something inhuman if I did. Case notes for file 942. A glitch on the cob. I don't think you have to fear the corn on the cob that's mysteriously in your fridge now. I don't think you'll become some transhuman monster if you consume it. That said, it is weird that it just showed up there, especially given that you never buy corn, which to me is weird in of itself, because corn is amazing. Usually I just buy canned corn as a snack, or maybe a side dish. It's tasty, it's low in calories, relatively speaking. In summertime, when it's cheap, just buy corn on the cob, grill it up, it's amazing. Or you can just boil it too, that works as well. Just add a little bit of salt and pepper, and a little bit of butter. I think people way over butter their corn on the cob usually. You don't need much, just need enough to coat it and enable that flavor transfer process, that's all. Do you want some corn with your butter? Or a video of Gordon Ramsay making mashed potatoes where he adds more butter than mashed potato. Like, okay, calm down, buddy. Calm down, Frenchman. I guess no, Gordon Ramsay isn't French, right? He's just a Brit. So I guess the French are safe. C'est bon. As to the glitch, most likely, simple explanation. In one universe, the corn that you bought, in that universe you like corn, I guess, just disappeared from the fridge, reappeared in your universe. That transfer process seems to happen pretty frequently, especially lately. So people will just be receiving things that they did procure in their universe in another one, and it just moved over here for some reason. I wish I knew why. How does that happen? Is there some space-time wormhole anomaly that enables multiversal travel? Seems to be the case, because we don't just move universes purely from quantum immortality. That's just the soul. Physical matter itself does move between universes as well. And the end of the video. You know what to do. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff as always. And I'll see you guys tomorrow if you like shorts, and on Monday for the compilation.